Hey guys, welcome back. It is Wednesday, November 8th, 2023. And you guys are in for a hell of a show. Glad to see all of you here today. Welcome back. It's Mob Vlog.
Hey everybody, grab a coffee and cannoli. It's time for Mob Vlog with my friend Adam Flowers and Red Wemette.
Hey, how's it going, Red?
It's going good.
It's good. Good to see you, man. It's good to see everybody here in the comments. Don Cheech, Sunny Zaro, Dave M, Julie M, Jim Magnifici, Paulie Walnuts. Everybody's here today. Sunny Zaro's even in the house today. He skipped something important because he thought this was more important to do. So thanks. Welcome in, guys. We're going to have a good time today. I don't care what the hell you guys think. This is going to be fun. Dominic Pagoni, nice to have you in the room. Tim Peroni, it's nice. Ian McCarthy, welcome in. Frank Ferrero, it's nice to see you as well. So today we're going to get into something's kind of current, but it's like from a long time ago, from 80 years ago. But we're going to talk about it today. Why not? What the hell? Albuquerque with John Wallace, Dustin McGill, nice to see you. Mike Alexander, welcome into the room, guys. Benedict, it's good to have you. Benedict Mastriani.
And Don Cheech is here.
Yes, and Don Cheech, of course. Awesome. So Red, there's a lot in the news about in current affairs about what's going on in Israel, and as everybody knows,
more so about Gaza, not Israel, but
well, yeah, that's what's happening. Do we support or don't we support Israel? And I think we've always supported Israel. I mean, we after World War II ended and they formed that country there, we've been supporting them since then.
We were the only ones that supported them with the United Nations when the British had that whole area, Palestine. Yeah. We were the only one that supported them to get them off the ships and said, you're going to have your own country. It was all the United Nations against us, and we did it.
That's right. That's right. And organized crime had something to do with that.
A lot.
Oh, man, did it ever. I mean, you had the American Jews that were mobbed up, and Meyer Lansky, Benjamin Siegel, Mo Dalitz. There's a list of them. We're going to go through a couple of websites that Red and I dug up. It's nice to see everybody. Joe Collada, what's happening? How are you? I hope you're doing well today. Mickey Griggs, nice to see you in here. Did you guys hear that intro? Did you hear Frank introduce us in the beginning? I've been playing around with that AI, taking people's voice. I even took Red's voice the other night. He got so pissed at me. I took Red's voice. Hey guy, I'm the owner of an adult bookstore, and Tony Spilotro is my boyfriend. Red got so pissed.
Sounded boyfriend and lover, you said.
Yeah, and lover, boyfriend and lover. I own a gay bookstore because I enjoy the clientele that comes in. Red's listening to this, getting pissed off as I'm sitting there.
I wasn't pissed off. I was laughing my ass off.
Quit making me say stuff. You're putting words in my mouth, literally.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's so much fun. So much fun. Holman Sanders, nice to have you in, all of you guys. It's it's a good day today, man. It's always a good day. So we're going to open up a couple of these sites and start going through them. Pretty interesting stuff. And why wouldn't they? They were Jews, so why wouldn't they want to help out Israel? That's their brothers, their family, Meyer Lansky.
Most of them were immigrants anyway. They came over here.
Sure.
Polish Jew, Russian Jew, whatever.
Sure. So there's an entire wiki page on this, the Jewish American organized crime, and the groups were out of Israel. The crime groups, mainly Jewish Israelis. So Israeli mafia, you could call it as well. I guess that's something that Israel exported. There was a little bit of the mob.
The Haggadah.
The Haggadah, right. So Italy exported the Italian mafia, and Israel exported the Jewish mafia. Right? I mean, how else is that going to start? Adam, stick to having AI help you pronounce names. Polly Walnuts, that's a great idea. I should do that, because it can, right? You type the name in, it auto generates, and it'll say it. Now, will it say it properly? I don't know, because I put Spilatro in there, and it said Spilotro, and I changed the O to an A to see if that would that was Spilatro, and so yeah, it's coming along. I guess AI, it's still in its
It's not perfect yet.
not yet, but it's going to be one day, right? One day. So, Jewish American organized crime initially emerged with the American Jewish community during the late 19th and early 20th century. In media and popular culture, it's been referred to as the Jewish mob, the Jewish mafia, the kosher mob, kosher mafia, and the Yiddish connection, the kosher nostra, and Unterstick. Unserstick. Unser. That's a weird word, huh? Well, it's the Yiddish, right?
Yeah.
The last two of these are direct term references to the Italian Cosa Nostra. The former is a play on the word for kosher, referring to Jewish dietary laws, while the later is it's part of the Italian phrase Cosa Nostra, and Italian for our thing into Yiddish, which at the time was the predominant language of the Jewish diaspora in the United States.
Do you know what Yiddish is?
Diaspora in the United States.
Do you know what Yiddish is?
No, enlighten me, Brad.
Okay. Yiddish is a slang between a language and Hebrew. It could be American Yiddish, it could be Polish Yiddish, but it's a slang. Like we use slangs like, y'all coming down here, stuff like that. It doesn't really mean what the actual words say.
Okay, so it's kind of I guess a colloquialism, if you can call it.
Yeah, very much so.
Okay, interesting. Say that 3 times fast. I saw a putty cat. Nice to have you in there. I saw a putty cat. In the late 19th century in New York City, Monk Eastman, who himself was most likely not Jewish, operated a powerful Jewish gang that competed with the Italian and Irish gangs, notably Paul Kelly's 5 Point Gang for control of New York City's underworld. Another notorious gang known as the Lenox Avenue Gang, led by Harry Gip the Blood Horowitz, consisted mostly of Jewish members and some Italian members, such as Francesco Cirofici? I don't know. It was one of the most violent gangs in the early 20th century and became famous for the murder of the gambler and gangster Herman Rosenthal. I wonder if that's any relation to Frank Lefty Rosenthal.
I don't think so. Rosenthal is a very common name.
It is. That's like Smith, right? Or Jones?
It's close to it, yeah.
Yeah. It's one of those that just, you hear that quite often. Sonny Zarro. In other words, Italian neighborhood talk.
Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly, right? Yeah. Yeah. I always thought cutting a hog in the ass was a bad thing. Apparently, it's a good thing. We looked that up the other night, Red. I always heard it as a bad thing. So don't cut a hog in the ass. But I guess cutting a hog in the ass was actually good. Anyway, let's get back to the. You
might as well explain why. You might as well explain why.
You go ahead and explain, Red.
Well, it's where the fat comes from.
Right.
And you actually get hog fat, to use for lard or grease. And you need it.
Yeah.
Some things you need it.
So why do they say it's a bad thing to cut a hog in the ass? Like you're doing something half-assed.
Chicago expression, because
that Chicago thing.
At the wrong end.
It's got to be. I thought it had something to do with butchering them, or something like the slaughtering them. Anyway. Hey, Sean Pender, it's nice to see you. Sean just put up a picture on Facebook of the Home Alone house yesterday. I think it was yesterday. He put that up, or today. Yeah, you're driving by it. See, you guys think that I don't look at your pages and whatnot, right?
Yeah.
I want to see Anthony DiMartini Street Stories back on. Maybe we'll have Anthony back on sometime. Set
Yes.
that up. That'd be fun. Yeah. Um, eat a bowl of spaghetti. It'll help you pronounce Italian names. Italian. Are you kidding me? Italian. They're from Italy, not Italy. So it's Italian. They're from Italy, not Italy. Come on. A lot of people say Italian, though. All right. So let's get through here. Okay. In the early 20s, stimulated by the economic opportunities of the roaring 20s and later stimulated by prohibition, Jewish organized crime figures such as Arnold Rothstein were controlling a wide range of criminal enterprises, including bootlegging, loan sharking, gambling, and bookmaking. According to the crime writer Leo Katcher, Rothstein transformed organized crime from a thuggish activity by hoodlums into a big business run like a corporation with himself at the top. Rothstein was allegedly responsible for fixing the 1919 World Series. At the same time, the Jewish bootlegging mob, known as the Purple Gang, dominated the Detroit underworld during Prohibition, while the Jewish Bugs and Meyer mob operated the Lower East Side of New York City before being absorbed into Murder, Inc. and becoming affiliates of the Italian-American Mafia. So the Purple Gang, they were doing the bootlegging, and that was...
It was out of Detroit.
Right, and Mo Dalitz was involved with that. He was it was his family's linen trucks that they were using to get the whiskey across the border, and they used drivers, and that's how Mo Dalitz and Jimmy Hoffa became acquainted, was through that bootlegging operation.
And that's how Mo Dalitz got his loan for out Vegas.
Oh no, the first loan came from the Cleveland mob, which opened the Desert Inn. 1950 which was the fourth resort out on the Strip. But yeah, that's where it all started, though. It started from all the bootlegging and all that. You almost think that the politicians, you almost think that maybe they made alcohol illegal and started prohibition so that organized crime could rise up. You know what I mean? And then take it all from them.
Yeah, but they have used throughout history. The politicians have used organized crime and organized crime members to do their bidding for them.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's a classic story. I know you said alleged. You were reading out of Wikipedia about Arnold Rothstein. He did fix the World Series. There's no doubt in anybody's mind. It's just not written in Wikipedia. Just like
how did he fix it?
Buying players.
Really?
Joe Jackson, several other people. A lot of people were involved in it. But the same thing happened with Lucky Luciano. Mm-hmm. He was asked to take hold of the unions because they had control of the unions and get rid of the terrorists that they had on the docks in New York. And he did. He did it. So when they called upon people, they just seemed to call upon people throughout history. Starting in the very beginning, starting way, way back.
Man.
You can't do it, but you can.
So let's get into the connection here with Israel, since that's what we wanted to talk about. So after World War II, following World War II, the dominant figures of organized crime tended to be second-generation Italian-American and Jewish Americans. In the late 1960s, the Jewish presence in organized crime was still acknowledged as being of significance. However, as Los Angeles mobster Jack Dragna explained to Hitman and later government informant Jimmy Fratiano, he said, Meyer's got a Jewish family built along the same lines as our thing. But his family is all over the country. He's got guys like Lou Rohde and Dalitz, Doc Stacker, Gus Greenbaum, sharp fucking guys, good businessmen. And they know better than to try to fuck us. Wow.
That was true.
Yeah. And you know, the Italians and the Jews, they really complemented one another. I mean, think about it. The Italians, they knew how to get the money. The Jews, they knew what to do with the money.
I knew one personally, Irv Weiner.
There you go, right?
Irv Weiner.
Go Irv Weiner. So Jewish mobsters such as Meyer Lansky and Los Angeles-based Mickey Cohen, along with Harold Hookie Rothman, continued to hold significant power and control organized crime groups in New York City, New Jersey, Chicago, Los Angeles, Miami, and Las Vegas. While the Jewish American presence remained strong in Italian American criminal rackets, Shonder Byrnes was a Jewish crime boss in Cleveland who controlled numbers, prostitution, theft, and gambling rackets. Byrnes was active until 1975 when he was murdered by Irish gangster Danny Green, who later died in a car bombing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, he was famous for bombing, and they bombed him.
Yeah, right. He was, it was Kill the Irishman, right? Wasn't that the movie they did about him?
I believe so. Also, Mickey Cohen in 1947, I believe. I may not be right on the year, but it's 1947. Mickey Cohen, or might have been later. Mickey Cohen did a fundraiser for Israel through Italian, Jewish people, whatever, and he raised money for arms. Arms for Israel was the name of it.
Yeah.
And he collected $1 million. Back in those days, $1 million was a lot of money.
Sure.
And he was supposedly going to supply Israel with firearms because they needed them. They didn't have them. They didn't manufacture anything there except sand.
Cliff Lawrence Hagberg. Why don't you call Meyer Lansky? That's a good idea, Cliff. I should have thought about that before the show. Didn't even think to call him. Cliff's a funny guy. Cliff's an entertainer in town. He writes jokes. He's for like the Tonight Show and all kinds of shows. He's funny dude.
How you doing, Cliff?
Nice to have you in the show today here. Ultra Cowboy, happy Veterans Day, Red.
Thank you very much. And the Marine Corps birthday's coming up too soon on the 22nd.
Yes. Hyman Roth always makes money for his partners.
That's part of the movie. Gosh,
McDam. The Italians needed the Jews. Without Meyer Lansky, Lucky Luciano isn't who he was. Exactly. They really did. So that's the thing. So all right, let's get back onto this. Jewish American organized crime derived from dislocation and poverty, where language and custom made the community vulnerable to undesirables, the sort of thing that is claimed fosters criminality among any other ethnicity in a similar situation. As American Jews improved their conditions, the Jewish thug and racketeer either disappeared or merged into a more assimilated American crime environment. American Jews quietly buried the public memory of the gangster past, unlike the mafia. Famous Jewish American gangsters like Meyer Lansky, Dutch Schultz, and Bugsy Siegel founded no crime families. Isn't that interesting?
Also, they had a philosophy. They said it's not good to be famous. Famous is not good. Irv Weiner used to say that.
Sure.
Famous is not good. You don't want to be noticed. You want to be there, but you don't want anybody to know what you're doing.
Right. Wasn't that was one of the reasons Meyer?
Keith is exactly right here. Keith made a good point. He must have read Jimmy Fradiano's book, Last Mafioso.
What do we have? Fradiano says Cohen never armed or sent the ship that was allegedly sunk to Israel. He kept the money.
That's what the rumors were. Rumors were that he kept the money. It sunk right outside of Los Angeles when it got over. Some say it was overloaded with too much.
Wow.
About it.
So they did. They had a whole arms smuggling operation throughout the U.S. and they were smuggling arms over to Israel for them to have, for the Jews to have to defend themselves. You got to have guns to defend yourself, don't you know?
Oh yeah.
Don't you know? Oh, we shouldn't have guns. Oh yeah.
And you know something? I remember back in the days when the Israelis had guns, but you saw the Palestinian kids throwing rocks. And I said, why are they throwing rocks? They didn't have any guns. They weren't allowed to have them.
Right.
No guns allowed in Palestine.
Yeah. Wow. Okay, so you don't count. Wait, hold on a second. What did Joe put? You don't count Tony Accardo's money. You wait it. You wait it. You didn't count it. You wait it. Let her weigh enough. That's great. Wow. Sonny Zarro, 1948. The Jews and Italians were about to go to war in Chicago. Little known fact: Paul Ricca settled the beef. They needed the Jews' money and influence. Yeah. I'm telling you, man, they worked it out. Hit the like button, guys. Be sure to smash the like button. You know,
we need some likes here.
you want to be a ghost in the room. That's what they wanted to be. Wanted to be a ghost in the room. Mo Dalitz didn't put his name all over the front of the Desert Inn. No. He made Wilbur Clark's Desert Inn, and Wilbur was the host. He was the front man. You know, Mo didn't want his name all over. You know, again, being well known is not a good thing. Work in the shadows, right?
Yeah.
Gus. So, okay. So let's see here. All right. Several notable Jewish American mobsters provided financial support for Israel through donations to Jewish organizations since the country's creation in 1948. Jewish American gangsters used Israel's law of return to flee criminal charges or face deportation. Notables include Joseph Doc Stacker,
Meyer Lansky,
Stacher, who built up Las Vegas by pairing the Jewish and Italian mafia into a national organized crime syndicate. Prime Minister Golda Meir set out to reverse this trend in 1970 when she denied entrance to Meyer Lansky. Yeah. And that's the famous Meyer was denied entry to Israel.
And there's a story about that too. The story was he was granted his homeland, coming to his homeland. Mm-hmm. And then they after they granted it, they had a hearing, like what do you call it, Congress or whatever got together. And they had influence from the FBI that said he was a criminal and he wasn't worth being there. And the American government, not the American government, the American politicians put pressure on him, on Golda Meir, to come out and make that statement and say, no, we can't accept him. Because if we do, the United States is going to turn against us.
Wow.
So he was sent, and he gave millions of dollars to Israel.
Scott H. They let the Ukraine citizens to have guns when Russians invaded. They all changed their minds about gun control after it's too late.
That's right.
Exactly. You don't think, oh, man, we need guns. All of a sudden, you know, those people were wishing they had guns while soldiers were coming into their country. And, you know, I mean, come on. Can't fight back. Paul Ricca really doesn't get enough credit, McDam.
He stayed underneath the radar. He wasn't noticed.
Hey, Scott H is coming out here. I hope to see you in a couple of months then. That's looking forward to that. I saw Putty Cat. I'd hit the love button if I could. You guys are fun to listen to. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, buddy.
It's nice to know that. We haven't been on for a little while, and I was taking a little break with work and whatnot, but we're back, and be this as regularly as we can. So, right. So,
Cowboy says, ask Venezuela about gun control.
Yeah. Right.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. They know all about that.
Never bring a rock to a gunfight. No.
Right. Yes, exactly. You know, that's why they make fun of all the Polish jokes.
They make fun of the Polish jokes. They make Polish jokes to make fun of Polish people.
Well, no, the Polish people were riding. Do you know what the first? You know who the first telephone pole was?
No.
Alexander Graham Belowski.
Oh.
Devin Burrell's been lurking. Good to have you in here. It's good to have you in here. So let's pull up a little bit more of this. So, let's open this up. And while we're letting that open, what's going on in Florida?
Not much. Not really much. The weather keeps changing.
Mm-hmm.
And that's having an environmental impact.
Right.
The guys are out riding motorcycles today, so I shut my window just a minute ago, just before we went on the air.
It's getting a little noisy, huh? Okay. Gangsters for Zion. In 1945, the Jewish agency, the pre-state Israeli government, headed by David Ben-Gurion, created the vast clandestine arms purchasing and smuggling network throughout the United States. The operation was placed under the control of the Haganah, the underground the underground forerunner of the Israeli Defense Forces, the IDF, and involved hundreds of Americans from every walk of life. They included millionaires, rabbinical students, I guess guys trying to be rabbis.
Yeah, studying.
Scrap metal, right? Merchants, ex-GIs, college students, longshoremen, industrialists, chemists, engineers, Protestants and Catholic, as well as Jews.
Every walk of life.
One group who remained anonymous and rarely were talked about were the men who were tough, streetwise, unafraid, and had access to ready cash, the Jewish gangsters. The arms smuggling operation was centered in a rented two-room suite in the Hotel 14, located at 14 East 60th Street in New York. Teddy Kollek, who later became the popular longtime mayor of Jerusalem, ran the day-to-day operations of the arms procurement efforts, kept tabs on everything, and oversaw all the comings and goings. Kollek was very careful to those who visited the office not to be people who would attract the attention of law enforcement agencies, especially the FBI. According to Leonard Slater in his book, The Pledge, Dan Flinderblom, that's a fun name, Flinderblom, a young electronics engineer, sorry guys, from the New York suburbs of Yonkers, had been recruited to set up a network of secret radio transmitters in Palestine to link isolated settlements and forewarn them of British search parties seeking illegal arms. He recalled being in the Hotel 14 suite in 1947 when a group of Jewish gangsters from Brooklyn came to see Kollek. Quote, the mobsters offered to help in any way they could. One of them said, if you want anyone killed, just draw up a list and we'll take care of it. Kollek politely thanked them but declined their offer. Flinderblom later immigrated to Israel.
While we're here, if you need any help, just let us know.
Changed his name to David Avivi, not as fun as Flinderblom, but Avivi's okay, and became leader in the future Israeli electronics industry.
He also became a politician.
You know, one of the best lock companies is out of Israel, Multi-Lock.
Yes.
One of the best lock companies. I did a gig for them one year. I had to do a bunch of magic with locks.
They make precision. Everything is precision.
Yeah. The keys that they have, they're pretty interesting stuff. So hit the like button, smash it, guys, if you're just coming in here. Was Lansky CIA? McDam wants to know.
No.
Not that I was aware of, but did he work with the CIA, though?
Yes.
See,
but he was not. He was an operative at one time, but he wasn't CIA.
Yeah.
If he had been, the State Department would have kept him over in Israel.
Right. Okay, so back to this. Okay, after the Holocaust, the establishment of a Jewish state in Palestine was seen by Zionists as a matter of life and death. Help me with this word again. Many Haganah people?
Yes, Haganah.
Haganah. Many Haganah people sent to the United States believed that anyone who could help should be approached regardless of who or what they were. Yehuda Arazi was one of those who held this view. Arazi, a close aide to Ben-Gurion, had been a daring and resourceful Haganah underground agent in Romania, Hungary, and Italy during the war. Ben-Gurion sent him to America and authorized him to purchase the kinds of heavy armaments that the Haganah had heretofore been unable to obtain. This included aircraft, artillery pieces, tanks, anti-aircraft guns, and other forms of heavy equipment.
Who best to steal it but the mob?
Sure. I mean, why? Why not? That's what they do. They steal, right?
Steal.
Okay, Slater tells the following story. One morning, Al Robinson, a textile converter from New Jersey and a devoted recruit to the Haganah's cause, arrived at Arazi's apartment and found him talking to two well-dressed but hard-looking men. Arazi asked Robinson to come back the next day. Robinson quickly understood that Arazi did not want him there at that moment, so he took the hint and left. The next day when they met, he asked Arazi, "Who are those men?" Arazi replied that, "In my business, we can't be too fussy about who we do business with. Sometimes they're not nice people." Arazi explained to him that he did not want Robinson to jeopardize his respectable standing in his community by meeting these people. He told Robinson that the men he met with came from a Brooklyn-based organization. I think they're called Murder Limited. Not being in an American New Yorker, Arazi had made the error in the title of Murder Incorporated.
Right.
Murder Limited. There wasn't any limit on the murders. Murder Limited. That's funny. At this time, the government maintained an arms embargo against Israel in the Middle East, but Egypt and the Arab countries managed to avoid the embargo and get weapons. Arazi learned that the mafia controlled the port of New York and had no scruples about contacting underworld figures. He approached Meyer Lansky and asked him to help get weapons loaded onto ships bound for Israel. Lansky said he would handle it. Lansky contacted Albert Anastasia and Joe Adonis, who controlled the Longshoremen's Union and the docks. They helped Israeli agents conceal the arms purchased for Israel, while arms bound for Egypt mysteriously fell overboard. Illegal consignments of military hardware, some of it brand new and still packed in oil and straw, were then secreted onto the ships that happened to be bound for Israel. Tell me, man, they wanted to get the weapons over there.
And they did.
Yeah. Another Haganah emissary, Reuven Daphne, who came to the United States in 1946 to raise money for the Haganah, also met with some well-known Jewish gangsters. Daphne had been born in Croatia in 1913. He immigrated to Palestine in 1936, where he became one of the founders of the kibbutz in Jev, whatever that is.
A kibbutz, and it was one of the first kibbutzes they had. Kibbutz where everybody, they work together. It's like what do you call it? A farm where they do all their a co-op.
A commune.
Co-op.
A commune. Commune, right?
Yeah, like a commune.
Okay. In 1940, he joined the Jewish Brigade of the British Army. In 1944, he parachuted with other paratroopers behind enemy lines into Yugoslavia and joined the partisans. After the war, he returned to his kibbutz. He did not stay there long. In 1946, the Haganah sent him to the United States to raise funds. When I interviewed Daphne, he told me about his meetings with the Jewish mobsters. His meetings were arranged by members of the local Jewish community. His first meeting was in Miami with Sam Kay, a leading Miami Jewish gangster. Quote, "The contact was made for me by a Jewish lawyer whose office was in the same building as the gangsters. The lawyer felt it was worth seeing the man since we had nothing to lose. The lawyer called the gangster's office and Daphne was invited upstairs. Quote, when I entered, I faced his secretary. It was like something out of a Hollywood movie. She was blonde, wore a low-cut dress with her bosom half out, and was chewing gum and filing her nails. She never even looked at me, but said, "Go in, he's expecting you." That's hilarious. He said, quote, when I went in, all I saw were someone's feet on the desk and a newspaper and cigar smoke curling up from behind the paper. After standing quietly for a few minutes, I cleared my throat a couple of times. The paper was lowered and Sam said, sit down and tell me what you want. So I told him. When I finished, he said, okay, he would help. Now, this Sam was good friends with the president of Panama. They were very close, and Sam contacted him for us. From then on, all our ships carrying weapons to Israel were registered in Panama and flew under the Panamanian flag. This was a very big help to us. So they used Panama too, huh?
Oh, yeah.
Man, it's just unbelievable. A few months later, the Haganah sent Daphne to Los Angeles. One day, he received an intriguing call from a man who identified himself as Smiley and requested a meeting. When they met, Smiley asked Daphne to, quote, tell me what you're doing. My boss is interested. Smiley's boss turned out to be Benjamin Siegel. Alan Smiley, was Siegel's right-hand man. Alan Smiley was in the room June 20th, 1947, when he was shot and killed in Beverly Hills. He was sitting across the room from him, I believe.
Yes, you're correct.
Smiley arranged a meeting between Siegel and Daphne at the LaRue restaurant. At the appointed time, Smiley and Daphne went into an empty room in the rear of the restaurant. A few moments later, Smiley left, leaving Daphne alone. Soon, two tough-looking goons entered and searched the room. When they were satisfied it was safe, they left. Shortly after, Siegel came in. He sat opposite Daphne and asked him to tell why he was in Los Angeles. As Daphne relates, I told him my story, how the Haganah was raising money to buy weapons with which to fight. When I finished, Siegel asked, you mean to tell me the Jews are fighting? Yes, I replied. Then Siegel, who was sitting across the table, leaned forward till his nose was almost touching mine. You mean fighting? As in killing? Yes, I answered. Siegel leaned back, looked at me for a moment and said, okay, I'm with you. From then on, recalled Daphne, every week I got a phone call to go to the restaurant, and every week I received a suitcase filled with $5 and $10 bills. The payments continued till I left Los Angeles. Daphne estimates Siegel gave him a total of $50,000.
That was a lot back then.
Oh, yeah, that's a ton. It's about 25 times now in today's money. So, it's a lot of damn money.
But Siegel wasn't the only one. A lot of people looked at Jewish people. They looked at the people in Israel as being passive, weak. They thought of American Jews were stronger because they had all the freedom and they had the things that they wanted. So they kind of looked at them as more passive at the time. So I could understand where Siegel would look at them and say, you mean they're actually fighting over there? They're actually, they're killing people? And he thought of himself as like an outcast. He was Americanized.
Uh-huh. Jim Magnifici. Adam, are you reading one of Red's books from his porn shop days? No, Jim. If I was to pick up any of those books, I'd just look at the pictures. All right. Siegel bomb. Okay, later that year, Daphne was in a hotel in San Francisco. He went down for breakfast and bought a newspaper. The headline declared that Bugsy Siegel had been killed in Virginia Hills mansion. Daphne mused, thank God I took cash and not a check. His meetings with Jewish mobsters kept the FBI monitoring Daphne until he left the country. In 1948, Daphne was appointed as the first Israeli consul to Los Angeles. From 1953 to 56, he served as Israel's consul general in New York City. Murray Greenfield had been in the Merchant Marines during World War II. In my conversations with him, he told me that after the war, he became involved with the illegal immigrant movement. Aliyah Bet that brought Holocaust survivors to Palestine from ports in Europe. They
said it was illegal, but they actually got ships finally They finally got ships to repatriate people to Israel. And the British government was fighting it. They didn't want them in because they controlled Palestine. They controlled all that whole area.
Gotcha.
They had sectioned it off and say, okay, this was said in the Talmud or the Bible or whatever, that this was going to be, and they gave them a small piece of land. And they were happy to get it. Yeah. They'd been on the ships for like 3 or 4 days without food, a lot of different things. When they got off, they were beat. And they were really hardworking people, very hardworking people.
Wow.
So they needed the mob to help them. They needed every bit of help they could get.
All right, so Murray Greenfield, the British caught him and sent him to a camp in Cyprus that had been built to house Nazi prisoners. He escaped, made it to Palestine. In 1947, the Haganah sent him to the United States and gave him the name of someone in Baltimore. Greenfield went through the man's house and was told to come back at midnight. As he remembers, I thought it strange, but if it helped Israel, I would do it. When Greenfield arrived late that evening, he was ushered into the basement recreation room and was told to wait. After about 12:30 a.m., the door opened and the strangest group I had ever seen entered. The men were all short and stocky with no necks. Their female companions were all blondes. The men sat in one side of the room, the women on the other. The host asked Greenfield to tell his story. When Greenfield finished, his host said to his guests, okay, now you know why you're here and you know what you have to do. He then looked around the room and said, Joe, you're giving $5,000. Max, you're giving $5,000. Harry, you're giving $10,000. Some of the participants complained that the business was tough because of the cops and they couldn't contribute so much. One man indicated, I could give you a lot of cash, but don't forget, I helped you last year when you needed guns. Undeterred by all the grumbling, the host ignored their pleas and continued. In no time, over $90,000 was collected. The money in cash was put in a paper bag and handed to Greenfield. Man, why can't I get a paper bag with $90,000? The host wished him good luck and ushered him out. There I was, he recalled, walking around Baltimore at 2 o'clock in the morning, holding thousands of dollars in a paper bag. Greenfield's host was formerly one of Baltimore's leading Jewish mobsters. In his autobiography, West Coast mobster Mickey Cohen claimed that after meeting Haganah and Irgun emissaries, he became so absorbed with Israel that he pushed aside much of his own activities and did nothing but try to help Israel in its war.
He was obsessed with it. He was totally obsessed with it.
Quote, I got involved with this goddamn Israel war for 3 years, he said. In his memoirs, he claims that he held fundraising affairs to raise money for Israel to procure weapons. In 1947, he organized a fundraiser for the Irgun. Leading Jewish underworld figures from California and Las Vegas attended. And according to Cohen and other attendees, thousands of dollars was collected. The money, Cohen claimed, was used to buy weapons and have them shipped to Israel. This is, I mean, there's a lot of damn money, man. This thing goes on. We got a few more paragraphs here, but let's finish this up. So I'm going to screw some names up here. What else is new? What else is new? Adam reads mob stories like they're hustler letters. Oh, okay. I mean, maybe I do.
Jimmy Flint would be proud.
Right. McDam, Murray Humphrey stories. Yeah, we're not talking Murray Humphrey though today. Mr. Hoffman FD, I had a Jewish uncle via marriage. He had a concentration camp tattoo and always carried a bag of diamonds in his pocket. I remember him talking about sending a couple of guns to Israel. Damn. Yeah. Okay, so Jimmy the Weasel Fratiano, a top mafia killer who later turned government informant, attended the party. Fratiano knew Mickey very well. He recalled this event being held in Slapsy Maxie's restaurant. The place is packed. I've never seen so many Jewish bookmakers and mob guys in one place in my life. They're all here. Famous actors, producers, big shots in the community. It's a full house. To start things off, Mickey Cohen pledged $25,000. After that, forget about it. Everybody's pledging thousands. Even the bookmakers are pledging 5 and 10 grand. They knew Mickey's running the show, and they're going to have to pay off. Okay. Yitzhak Ben Ami, who headed the Irgun's European-based illegal immigration operations, also remembered this party. In 1947, the Irgun sent him to the United States to assist the Irgun-led American League for a Free Palestine. Ben Ami helped Cohen organize the fundraising affair for which Fratianno spoke. Ben Ami claimed that between 50 and 60,000 was raised, not the hundreds of thousands that Fratianno mentions. Quote, the Jewish underworld contributed altogether about $120,000 for the Irgun, said Ben Ami. Nonetheless, not every Jewish mobster was so altruistic when it came when it came to Israel's survival. Some thought nothing of working against Jewish interests if they could profit from doing so. In 1951, 2 Detroit Jews, Arthur Leibov and Sam Stein, were indicted in a conspiracy to smuggle 21 American planes from Newark, New Jersey to Egypt during the Arab-Israel War in 1948. Their scheme was to purchase American surplus military aircraft, load them with British crews in Newark, and fly them to England. Once there, an Egyptian crew would be brought on board and the planes flown to Egypt. The syndicate bought 20 AT-6 airplanes and 1 B-25 bomber. The plot came to light in December of 48 when bad weather forced the B-25 to return to Newark. Federal agents seized the planes before they could be delivered. Nonetheless, most Jewish mobsters were willing to hazard being exposed in an illegal and risky effort to help Israel. Some did so out of ethnic loyalties. Meyer Lansky's daughter said that her father supported Israel's fight for independence because, quote, he couldn't stand back and allow the country where his own refugee grandparents were buried to be extinguished by the Arabs.
That's correct.
Some mobsters saw themselves as defenders of the Jews, almost biblical-like fighters. It was part of their self-image. Other commentators held that each Jew, no matter how depraved, they existed a pintel yid, a spark of Jewishness that was never extinguished.
Yes.
And this motivated them to help.
Mickey Grigg says, was Mickey Cohen with the Westies? No. Mickey Cohen was out of Chicago.
Right.
Mickey Cohen was a Chicago guy. He never was a New York guy.
Was sent out there. Hit the like button, guys, if you guys are just coming in here. Last paragraph. Other mobsters sought respectability so as not to stigmatize their children and thus jeopardize their chances for success in the legitimate world. Reuven Daphne, the Haganah emissary, believes this is what motivated Sam K., the Miami gangster, to assist the Haganah. He had a daughter of marriageable age, but she had a difficult time meeting Jewish boys because of what her father was. I think he helped us because it was a way for him to gain acceptance in the Jewish community. Once it became known that he was helping us, the Jewish community's attitude towards him changed. His daughter began dating Jewish boys and eventually married one. Perhaps Israel may be seen as a later version of the Jewish gangster's tradition of protecting his neighborhood from anti-Semites. After World War II, the Jewish state symbolically came to represent the Jewish neighborhood. In defending Israel against her enemies, the Jewish gangster was still defending his people against Jew haters.
That's correct.
There you go. So it was an interesting read here. And and to think that there's people running around this country going, "What death to Israel? What the?"
Palestinians, they think that, or they believe, and this is a real problem for Palestine. It really is. All the Egypt and Arab countries, if you were Jewish and you were in their country, they dumped you. They deported you to Palestine.
Uh-huh.
But you were Jewish. or
Man.
they're unwanted people. They put them into Palestine. A lot of other countries, Syria did the same thing. And so Palestine became like, the bad neighborhood. It was where we dumped everybody. We wanted to get rid of them in Europe and Africa, North Africa. So when they did that, it was like Israel was expanding. More people were coming from Poland, Austria, all the other European countries. They opened their doors to everyone that was a Jew.
Mhm.
However, they had to expand. So they went to, West Bank and different areas and kept expanding on land. I believe, it's my own personal opinion, it
Right.
was their land to begin with.
Right.
It was theirs. Like the
Uh,
war of 68,
what-
1968.
What country beside the U.S. ever wanted the Jews, Red?
None.
Nobody.
Nobody opened their arms to them. No one. We were the only country, the land of milk and honey. We opened up our arms.
Why? Maybe there wasn't, I saw something on a Jordan Peterson video I was watching the other day as we were researching this, but he made an interesting point about World War II, about how systematically Hitler was, exterminating.
Also,
And-
Mussolini. Out of
Okay.
Italy. Mussolini.
Yeah. So supposedly he had a meeting with Mussolini, and Mussolini was going to say, "I want out of this." And Adolf showed up at the meeting all jacked up on some drug and wouldn't stop talking the entire meeting. And Mussolini was afraid to say something to him. So what I heard. But think about something. If you're leading and you're trying to take over and expand and take over the world, basically, wouldn't you use your manpower to fight, especially when you're losing? Why would he continue to take manpower and use it in the concentration camps and all that to exterminate these people?
The reason why
He was evil. He was evil. That's why. He didn't care about winning. He cared about doing the most evil, heinous shit ever known to man.
But Hitler invaded Italy. He invaded Italy, Sicily.
Yes.
You talk about Patton and everything, and during World War II, they invaded Italy, and so they had to take over a fascist
Right.
leader who happened to be Mussolini, and he paid for his sins because the Italian people, when they killed him, they hung him upside down in the square, in the town square, so everybody could walk by and spit in his face for what he did to that country.
Wow.
That's a fact.
Palestine was like Australia, dumping ground or penal colony in its early days.
Very much so.
Yeah. Yeah. Australia. I went to Australia. I got there to the international, check-ins there to go through, not immigration, but when you're international travel, and they asked me, they said,
Customs.
customs, yeah, and they asked me, they said, have you ever committed a felony, been arrested for a felony? And I said, I didn't know that was still a requirement to come here. That was a joke, Red. Never mind.
I got it.
Anyway, Israel turned Lansky away. Yeah, we said that earlier. We read about that. I met a guy from Palestine. His girlfriend wanted to visit Israel. They told him he's not allowed. Wow. Well, I mean, gotta have rules.
They had borders because there were too many terrorists.
Oh, that's a good idea too. Borders. That's something else that's a good thing. Why would you let people into your country that you don't know where they're from or who they are? I mean, that's kind of asinine. Hitler was a great speaker, but he had a terrible mind. Well put. I saw Putty Cat.
The crowd has something here to say, and it's true.
September 1943. Italy surrendered to the Allies and Germany immediately. Garrisons in the country and disarmed the Italian armed forces.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Joe Collada, in my opinion, the USA needs Israel to keep the terrorists in line. Well, that's true. I mean, we do.
What's up, Joe?
Yeah, we're right over there, and we have. I mean, they're our allies, man. They're looking out for us. So you know who built them that iron? What's it called? The Iron Dome,
Yes,
right? Their defense system. Yeah, we gave that to them.
we have it here, and that we gave it to them.
Yeah, and they used it just recently when they were lobbing rockets over the border into Israel. And now Israel's going, this isn't happening. They're retaliating. And then you got these stupid dumbasses running around this country going, no, they're attacking innocent people. No.
These are younger people. These are younger people that don't know the history. All they know
Right.
is what their parents and grandparents.
All they know is what they're being shown.
Right.
That's it. Yeah, that's it. And when you don't show the thing that actually happened and you twist it around, and then you just make a bunch of dumbasses. Didn't stop the 9/11 inside job, did Iron Dome?
No.
No, it didn't. It didn't. By the way, it just popped in my head, Red. If you haven't watched it, it's on Amazon Prime. Violent Night. First Christmas movie this season to watch, Violent Night.
Okay.
Okay. Funny. It was funny. So no one wants to offend the Jews. Everyone's walking a fine line. Kissy cat. Well, yeah. No, no.
I have gotten along all my life. I'm 74 years old. I've gotten along all my life with Jewish people. All my life.
Yeah.
They're warm. They take you into their homes. They treat you like some of my closest friends. Howie Gilman
Yeah.
was a great friend of mine. As a matter of fact, Paul Gilman is on Facebook, and he's the son. And Howie passed away. And he remembers, he said, I was the only client that ever called him at home or that he called me from his home. I mean, we had a very good relationship. All of us. I can't remember one Jewish person that I did not get along with.
Yeah. No, I have some great Jewish friends. One of my best buddies, Ben Mullen. We went to high school together. We got out. We created things together. He did music. I did magic, and we came together to do a children's show we were building. Kind of wild. Anyway, so here it's exactly what we were warned about: indoctrination of Marxism into the universities.
Yes.
This generation's being brainwashed by liberal college professors. Listen, guys. I don't know if you look at TikTok videos or ones that get put onto YouTube. This isn't happening in the universities. It's not starting, I should say, in the universities. Shit's starting in kindergarten.
It's just being publicized for the universities. That's all.
It's being started in kindergarten, okay? With the teachers sitting there going, well, what gender are you? Really? That's being started. I saw this unbelievable video, and they're all the kids in their 20s. So do you think that a 7-year-old kid should be allowed to get a tattoo to decide they want to get a tattoo? Oh, no, that's too young to do something permanent like that to their body. All of them say, oh, no.
What happened to the age of reasoning?
What? No. The same people asked the same two questions. First question, should a 6-year-old get a tattoo or 7-year-old get a tattoo on their body? No, they're too young to make a permanent choice like that. Okay, should they be allowed to take hormone blockers and whatnot if they're... Oh, yeah, they can make that decision. What? I mean, it's so fucked. It really is.
They are destroying us from within.
That's it. That is it. The communists control all education. Yeah, what's this? Something about Stanford University?
All of them. Stanford, Harvard.
Something about China's buying our colleges or something. Do you hear about that?
Yes, it's correct.
They're buying our colleges, and then if China owns the college, then don't they kind of set up the curriculum too?
Kind of.
Yeah, Scott H. It's insane, man. You think about it and you go, it's just crazy. It's just crazy. You think, oh, we'd never do that. Never let that happen. How you let something that stupid happen?
I thought it was ridiculous when I first started seeing all our young Palestinian people saying, kill the Jews. You know, I really looked at it and said, where did these people come from? What rock did they come out from underneath?
Yeah.
Don't they know the history of their own native land? I mean, they grew up here. They didn't have anything to do with over there.
It's insane. Yeah. I don't think they bought TikTok, Kissy Cat. I think that
No.
it's actually
TikTok is owned by the Republic of China.
It is. It's actually coded by China. You know, when you put TikTok on your phone, every swipe that you do on your phone can be recorded, including when you're in your banking.
At all. I will not answer to TikTok. I don't even
put any of that on your phone, guys.
No.
Don't put any of it on your device, I should say. I call it a phone. It's a freaking supercomputer, right? That sits in my pocket. This thing's a supercomputer hanging on my wrist. You know, it's insane. See how big that watch is, man? I'm like Flavor Flav, man, with my watch.
Yeah, but all the things that it does.
It does. It does so much. It really does. Anyway, hey, Red, it's been an awesome afternoon. I have to work, and I think we're going to do this again next week. So
sounds great, Adam.
Yeah, it's good to see all of you guys. You guys have a great day. It's been a lot of fun as always, and I'm glad that you guys were made it. Hit
that like button and show us that you want us back. Hit that like button.
Smash the like button, guys. Smash the like button. And if you haven't heard, the Mob Tour is up and going. So's the Vegas Crime Tour. Scott H., I'll see you soon. And you guys,
it's going good. I like it.
Yeah, you guys all have a good day. Red, I'll see you later, buddy. Join us for the Vegas Mob Tour. Experience Sin City's dark past. Learn how Bugsy Siegel built the Flamingo. Find out who killed him and why. Hear who Jimmy Hoffa supplied money to back in the 50s. Visit the actual home used in the 1995 blockbuster movie Casino. And other filming locations as well. See the real jewelry store where Frank Collada and his crew were busted. Sit in the exact spot where Frank Lefty Rosenthal's car was bombed back in '82. View never-before-seen footage of Frank Collada telling personal stories about Tony Spilatro, Joey the Clown Lombardo, and the Hole-in-the-Wall Gang.
This house here used to be Tony's house. Sounds like a peach color. It was brown then. The only thing changed is the driveway.
Here's an offer you can't refuse. Upgrade to the Untouchables experience. Following the tour, you'll enjoy a 3-course dinner at the Tuscany Gardens. And then, VIP seating for the long-running hit, The Rat Pack is Back show. Experience Vegas the way it was meant to be.